mature now, enough to take care of the cows. So I'm going to read first from Nectar of Devotion. This is chapter 42, in which Srila Rupa Goswami talks about the fraternal loving affairs. So it goes like this. Learned scholars have divided Krishna's age into 3 periods. From the 11th through the 15th year is called Kaishara. While Krishna is spending his day as a cowherd boy, he is in the Kumara and Pauganda ages. In the Kishora age, when Krishna appeared in Gokula, he acted as a cowherd boy of a child with Mother Yasoda, and the beneficiary of all kinds of sacrificial ceremonies. He still used to eat with his cowherd boyfriends. This is because at that time he accepted the pastime of an ordinary boy, keeping his flute under his arm and his bugle on the right side of his belt, along with his cane. In his left hand he will hold a lump of rice paste with yogurt, and in his fingers will be pilu, the kind of fruits. When he will thus sit among his friend, it will appear that he was the wool of a lotus flower, and that the friends surrounding him were petals. As they thus enjoy joking among themselves, the denizens of heavens will become struck with wonder and will only stare at the scene. End of quote. Krishna's Pauganda age can be further divided into 3 periods, namely the beginning, middle, and end. In the beginning of the Pauganda age, there is a very nice reddish luster on his lips. His abdomen is very thin, and on his neck are circles like those of a conch shell. Sometimes some outside visitor will return to Vrindavan to see Krishna, and upon seeing him will exclaim, quote, "My dear Mukunda, your beauty is gradually increasing, just like the leaf on a banyan tree. My dear lotus-eyed one, your neck is gradually manifesting circles like those of a conch shell, and in the shining moonlight your teeth and cheeks are competing with the Padmaraga jewels in their beautiful arrangement. I am sure that your beautiful bodily development is now giving much pleasure to your friends." End of quote. With various kinds of dye. Such beautiful decorations are considered cosmetics for Krishna. Krishna will wear this dress when he used to go into the forest to tend the cows. Sometimes he will wrestle there with his friends, and sometimes they will dance all together in the forest. There are some specific activities. These are some of the specific activities of the Pauganda age. The cowherd friends of Krishna were so happy in his company that they expressed their transcendental feelings within themselves thus, quote, "Dear Krishna, you are always busy tending the cows that are scattered all over beautiful Vrindavan. You have a beautiful garland, a small conch shell, a peacock feather on your turban, yellow-colored silk cloth, decorations of karnikara flowers on your ears, and a malika flower garland on your chest, appearing so beautiful when you pretend, just like an actor, to be fighting with us. You give us unlimited transcendental bliss." End of quote. When Krishna is more grown up, in the middle age of Pauganda, his nails become finely sharp, and his chubby cheeks become lustrous and round. On the two sides of his waist, his belt, above his belt, there are three distinct lines of folded skin called Tivali. The cowherd boyfriends of Krishna felt very proud of their association with him. At that time, the tip of his nose defeated the beauty of the sesame flower. The lustres of his cheek defeated the glow of pearls, and the two sides of his body were exquisitely beautiful. In this age, Krishna wore a silk dress that glittered like lightning. His head was decorated with a silk turban covered with gold lace, and in his hand he carried a stick about 56 inches long. Seeing this exquisitely beautiful dress of Krishna, one devotee addressed his friend in this manner, quote, "My dear friend, just look at Krishna. See how he is carrying in his hand a stick which is bound up and down with golden rings. How his turban with golden lace is showing such a beautiful luster, and how his dress is giving his friends the highest transcendental pleasure." End of quote. At the end of Krishna's Pauganda age, Krishna's hair sometimes hangs down to his hips, and sometimes it becomes scattered. In this age, his two shoulders become higher and broader, and his face is always decorated with marks of tilak. When his beautiful hair scatters over his shoulder, he appears to be a goddess of fortune embracing him, and this embracing is highly relished by his friends. Subal once addressed him in this way, quote, "My dear Keshava, your round turban, the lotus flower in your hand, the vertical marks of tilak in your forehead, your kumkuma flower musk, and all of your beautiful bodily features are defeating me today. Although unusually stronger than you or any of our friends. Since this is so, I do not know how these features of your body can fail to defeat the pride of all the young girls of Vrindavan. When I am so defeated by this beauty, what chance is there for those who are naturally very simple and flexible?" End of quote. At this age, Krishna took pleasure in whispering into the ears of his friends, and the subject of his talks was the beauty of the gopis, who were just tarrying before them. Subal once addressed Krishna thus, quote, "My dear Krishna, you're very cunning. You can understand the thoughts of others. Therefore, I am whispering within your ear that all these 5 gopis who are most beautiful have been attracted by your dress. I believe that Cupid has entrusted them with the responsibility of conquering you." End of quote. In other words, the beauty of the gopis was capable of conquering Krishna, although Krishna is the conqueror of all universes. So, some descriptions of the Pauganda age of the Lord. It's very beautiful. So, this chapter starts with the description of this initiation of Krishna into a cowherd boy, of being a cowherd. This celebration, or this moment, is celebrated in Vrindavan during Kartik month, tail end of Kartik. It's a beautiful festival. In Krishna Balaram Mandir, all the devotees gather in the Goshala, and all the cows are decorated. Usually they've been painted. You see imprintings of hands and all kinds of different decorations made with turmeric and things like that, no? And garlands of flowers. They dress him with nice chadars and things like that, and the cows are worshipped. They're fed very nicely, and this beautiful festival is taking place. So it is explained that during this time, when Krishna comes to this, well, I remember, I'm going to try it because I remember being doing this celebration and hearing from His Grace Dinamandu Prabhu, who is, you know, the ultimate Brijavasi god of Gopastami. So when Krishna, so what I remember from that, when Krishna comes to, started to come to this Pauganda period, there were symptoms. So he's passing from this Kumara, which is, you know, the child of Yashoda and Nanda, and especially Mother Yashoda was very, very attached and protective to Krishna. So both parents started to see the symptoms of Krishna, that he was changing. And one of the symptoms that Mother Yashoda found was that Krishna didn't allow her to bathe him again, because the natural bashfulness of you know, growing. And so Krishna was not feeling comfortable with Mother Yashoda bathing him. So Mother Yashoda was not very thrilled or happy about these changes in Krishna's attitude. She will try to rationalize it in some way. You know, just Krishna being Krishna, you know, childhood, or, you know, very actively like that. Nanda Maharaj also noticed that during this time, Krishna started to hang around more with his uncles, with the brothers of Nanda Maharaj, and he will sort of have this, Nanda Maharaj noticed he was talking with the uncles, and he was sort of in a shy, or how do you say, he was very enthusiastic but also not sure. In one sense, this is the description that is given. So Nanda Maharaj approached his brothers and asked, what is Krishna asking you? What is these talks that you have with Krishna? And then the brothers revealed that Krishna actually had the desire to tend the cows, to take the cows. So far, he's been allowed to take the calf. And but now Krishna wanted to take the cows, and, you know, being a bona fide, you know, a cowherd boy, take the cows, the bulls, and all the herd into the forest. Krishna and Balaram, they thought, what does our father have to take? Now we're older, we can take. So after having this information and discussing with Mother Yashoda, then both of them decided, well, yes, you can, you know, it's Krishna is completely drawn to that. And there was another thing that happens. The cows apparently decided at that time they won't move, they won't go out. So they enter in something like it was like how you say when workers goes into strike. It was like a strike of the cows. They didn't go out. So Nanda Maharaj basically was forced, okay, we have to give Krishna, make the arrangement for Krishna and Balaram to take the cows. So they consulted and find out this auspicious time for initiating Krishna as a cowherd boy, and that was during this Gopastami, moment. And Krishna will take the cows and will go the whole day into the forest of Vrindavan. And one of the things that is explained here is that he won't choose. He will be barefoot walking along Vrindavan, and which is one of the reasons why devotees are encouraged to, when you do parikram in Vrindavan or around Govardhan Hill, you do it without shoes. In one sense, it's also Krishna sets the example. The narration of how Krishna decided not to use shoes or sandals is very beautiful. It's explained that Mother Yasoda, they were anxious that Krishna would go into the forest without shoes. Actually, this happened previously to this Krishna taking the cows. When he was taking the calf, Mother Yasoda, when she agreed, she said, well, here's sandals and an umbrella, so you don't get burned by the scorching sun, and then you don't hurt your feet, because there's many pebbles and thorns and things in the in the forest of Vrindavan. So Krishna says to Mother Yashoda, okay. So there was a lot of shoes, that they have to put together. And so Mother Yashoda, okay. Then it's fine, don't take the shoes, but take the umbrella. And similarly, you say, well, then we have to make umbrellas for the cows too. But the problem is that the cows, they have no hands. So you have to have 900,000 people carrying umbrellas along with the cows. So they, also protected from the sun. And then I take the umbrella too. So Mother Yasoda said, okay, so no umbrella. So, but that night, the cows went into the forest of Vrindavan, and with their hooves, they smashed all the stones. Every single pebble, everything in the path of Vrindavan. And it is said also that the stones themselves, the sharp stones that melted into this, beautiful sand, just expecting Krishna, to step over them. And it's explained that up to this time, most of the parikram, actually, we're talking about, I was just telling Adma Rama Prabhu that my wife blew a picture that she took, I think 1994, of Vrindavan Parikram. And so this particular picture is just before coming to the Madame Gopal's and Madame Mohan's temple, and it was surrounded by trees, by farm fields, and it was all dirt path. And remember, in that dirt path, it was very, very soft, so you can walk, no problem. Right now, it's all streets and it's all built, and it's very busy road full of cars and pollution and things like that. But back then it was hardly anything. It was all farm field and dirt road. So what to speak, 10 years after, when Srila Prabhupada took the devotees there, the explanation is there was nothing there. So it was very, very nice doing parikram. Right as you come out of Krishna Balaram Mandir, then you were walking down the path and you come to the Krishna Balaram tree. At that time was there, that now that tree is no more. So, and you continue the path. So the sand of Vrindavan was very, very soft for Krishna to walk. He started to tender the cows in, let me see what else is here. Yeah, this is a very nice quote, especially of Krishna's relationship with the cows. Krishna is during this period, he is named by demigods during the Govardhan Lila as Govinda. So he's known as Govinda and Gopal. Govinda, Gopal. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. So Govinda, who gives pleasures to the cows and the senses, and Gopal, who is the protector of the cows. So Krishna has this very, very close relationship with the cows. In the Gopal Champu, it is described like this, quote, "Whenever they are satisfied, so too is he. Whenever they are hungry, he is as well. He calls them near again and again, and pressing against them, he relishes their scent and further embrace them, examining them closely and feeding them. Without him, their herds are empty and without him their hearts are empty and they stand motionless as they were painted. Only when they are reunited with him, do they recover. Smelling, seeing, hearing, tasting, and touching him." So these are the cows, the Krishna's relationship with the cows. Very, very close. And so this is a very beautiful session of Krishna's pastimes. The pastime with the cowherd boys in Vrindavan, doing all these sports and taking the cows. And during this period of time, also he is confronted with several demons, starting with, we're going to hear the pastime of them killing Dhenukasura. And also during this period of time is the time of Govardhan Lila, Kaliya Lila, Krishna chastising Kaliya, and also what else happening? Can't remember, but there is a very, very sweet and beautiful pastime. I'm going to stop here. Any comments or questions on this? Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for such a beautiful description of Krishna's Poganda Leela. Just one short comment. There was His Holiness Shiv Ramaswamy in his book Navabraja Mahima gives a pastime of another initiation ceremony that takes place for Krishna, just like the one at Gopashtami. When Krishna was living in Mathura, then Vasudeva decided that he needs to be initiated now into their Kshatriya lineage. And this gave Krishna a lot of insecurity, because he sent a message back to Nanda Maharaj saying, just so you know, I'm becoming initiated here in Mathura. They want me to join the Kshatriya lineage, but at heart, I'm forever a cowherd boy, and you should know that I'm forever yours. In fact, he told Nanda Maharaj, while I'm in Mathura getting this initiation to become a Kshatriya, I want you to have a similar ceremony in Braj for all my friends. And when they give me a sacred thread, make sure that all my friends also get a sacred thread. Because he didn't want this feeling of difference that, oh, now I have something that they don't have. And it was just very sweet that he wanted to maintain that mood that I'm just a cowherd boy. You know, even though they want to initiate me as the young prince and like that. But I'm forever yours, he says in this letter to Nanda Maharaj. So I just wanted to share that little pastime because it reminded me of that when you were describing the Gopashtami Leela.
Nice. Thank you.
HG Subal Prabhu, thank you for your class. You made a lot of wonderful points. One point I'd like to appreciate that in regards to Krishna's love for his devotees is that when Mother Jasoda wanted to make him some sandals, he was like, if you make sandals for me, make them for everyone else. And in Ishopanishad, Prabhupada says there are two types of sense gratification, immediate and extended. And we see in the material world when somebody's very wealthy, has some resources, it's either for me or for my family. But Krishna says there's an extended family, everyone. And that's why I really appreciate it. And we see it in one thing that came to mind in the past on Jalabharta. Jalabharta actually criticized King Rahugana. He says, you have so much resources, and your workers are working hard to maintain the kingdom, and they're carrying your palanquin, yet you don't even pay them. So use your resources to actually, in that way you'll benefit everyone. Materially, obviously that's only materially, but in the real benefit, the real wealth is the spiritual wealth, the knowledge. So anyway, that's one point I appreciate. But in regards to this verse from the Bhagavatam, one thing that came to mind is that left an impression on me is that it says that Krishna blessed Vrindavan by leaving the impression of his footprints in the sand. And there's a very beautiful quote. It says, no footprint is too small to leave an imprint on this world. So sometimes in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's book, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says Denuka Sura represents gross intellect and material intelligence, just acquiring information versus shlokas after shlokas, but with no character in inside. And sometimes in the material world, we say, in order for me, even in devotional life, in order for me to leave an imprint on this world, I need to learn so many shlokas, so many verses. But we see that Lord Chaitanya, he told the illiterate Brahma, you're an authority on the Gita. You may not have the credentials on the outside, but you have the essentials on the inside. No footprint is too small to leave an imprint on this world. And that's one thing I appreciate. And a few points are kind of regarding this is that Bhaktisiddhanta says the same thing in Uddhava Gita, chapter 2, verse 10. He actually compares the ass, the donkey. He says, this verse mentions the honeybee. It says the essence of the honeybee labor is to extract honey from the flowers. He says a honeybee never wastes his time by carrying a whole garden of bushes. The essence of his labor is to extract the honey. And we see that the essence of a donkey, he mentions in his purport, the essence of a donkey is grass to eat, to maintain their strength, grass. Yet it wastes his time by carrying heavy loads on his backs. So Bhaktisiddhanta says, one should not be an ass carrying a heavy burden of useless knowledge. And we see this in many pastimes. Durvasa Muni, he could speak about Jiva Tattva, Krishna Tattva, Bhava Tattva, Rasa Tattva. But why did he leave his degradation? He's like, I want to kill Ambarish. Why? Because you're envious. So what is the use? So we see that even in the material world, politicians, they spend so much time acquiring so much education. And they ascend to power with their information, but why did they descend from their position? No transformation. Yasyasi Bhaktir Bhagavati Akinchana Sarva Gunas. They have no tolerance. They only like to hear there's always competition. They don't like to hear anybody but themselves. They can't tolerate anybody, so what is the use? So my question is that there's one last quote I'd like to mention, because a lot of times, even in our devotional life, we feel like we have to have an imprint. We need to attain a position in devotional life, learn so many shlokas, but there's a nice quote that says, money, fame, power and high education increase your net worth, not your self-worth. You are already valuable with a smaller apartment and no title behind your name. The only title you need to feel good about yourself is this: child of Almighty God. And so my question is that even in our devotional life, we may not have the faith that basically, we may not have the faith, or we may speak, we sometimes in Christian conscience we're forced to speak high topics that are not really in accordance with our adhikar, like the Shraddha. Shraddha Shabde Vishwa Kahe Sudrina Nishtoy, Krishna Bhakti Kola Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Devotional service means faith in Krishna consciousness, unflinching faith, not faith in my material intellect, my intelligence. So my question is that when we're, especially teachers who are giving knowledge to their children, my question is if they don't have the faith that I don't need to learn so many verses, I don't need this high education to feel good about myself. Sometimes we speak about humility, but if we don't have the faith ourselves, then my question is that sometimes we're forced to speak about things that we don't have faith in. And so my question is that it's not necessarily hypocritical, but how can we be humble and stuff by explaining Krishna consciousness, but at the same time telling people I don't have the faith at the same time? So I don't know if my question was clear, but
not super clear in that. But I would say, just in what I get, out of at least something that I believe myself, is that it's important to speak with your heart, to be honest and share what you have. That's a principle that makes a relationship and an exchange with someone else very significant and beautiful, because it's unique. And I believe that's what people appreciate at the end. When you have someone that genuinely is sharing something that belongs to them. So that means that we all can preach, we all can talk, because there is something that we have, each one of us, that is very unique to each one of us. That is our personal experience, how Krishna consciousness or life is affecting me in a particular way. And then when I share that, then that's very significant, because it's unique to you. So, so you may not know a lot of things, you may not be extremely educated, but if you're honest in sharing that part, then you actually contributing something very significant to, to someone else. So that principle, I think, is very important. I'm going to stop here. And 8:43. So thank you so much. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hari Bol. Salud.